And I'm a Christian Arab American from Syria originally. The reason why I'm here is to promote peace and stability and justice in the Middle East. We have people here of various racial and ethnic and religious backgrounds, etc. Oh, I'm definitely pro-Palestinian. The native Arabs of Palestine are the native indigenous people of the land, regardless if they're Arab Jews, Arab Christians, and Arab Muslims. Those are the native Arabs of Palestine. The people who came, Jews from Europe, from Germany and Poland, came over there during the Zionist movement. Now I believe in a one-state solution where everybody lives together, where they preserve the Arab culture and all three religions are preserved: Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. The damage has already been done since 1948, but the best way to do is to move forward, have peace, stability, freedom, democracy, and justice. All these fighting is definitely damaging to Israel, and it's going to be a threat to Israel even more. So it's to everybody's interest to quit the nonsense, quit the arguing, the badgering, and to have a one-state solution and quit basically moving words into action. That's my motto, because there's too much stalling going around. Too many people being killed and injured, and we have to stop all this bloodshed because this has been going on since 1948 for 66 years. Well, everybody knows, it's not a secret, that the U.S. gives Israel billions of dollars over so many years. That's no secret, okay? That money could be easily funded for our own backyard. I'm a firm believer in putting all the money into the United States.
Hi everyone, I just want to say how much of an honor it is to be here as part of SJP and to see so many enthusiastic and eager people who are here to really call out what's happening and call the genocide for what it is, which is a genocide, a relentless and brutal genocide. And as other speakers have already mentioned, we make this possible. Our tax dollars make this possible, our investments make this possible. And so if we're thinking of what we can do here on the ground right now, one of the best things we can do is get involved with the BDS movement. It's time to boycott, divest, and sanction Israel, and to pull our investments until the people complicit in these atrocities rethink their policies and start to take a stand for justice, as so many of us have already done. But I think, honestly, one of the many troubling things about the situation is that while so many of the common people are standing up and voicing their resistance, we're standing up in the midst of a relentless media machine that can cynically twist anything, even civilians dying. It's a terroristic affiliation. And so we need to say no more. We need to stand up and speak for what's right. But most of all, we need to remember that the Palestinians can speak for themselves. We do not speak for the Palestinians. They know what their future and their freedom will look like. And so on that note, right now I have a friend from Gaza who's here with me who would like to say a few words.
Hello everyone. I'm a student at I'm from Students of Justice in Palestine in UCLA, and I'm from Gaza. I just wanted to share a small story, and then I'm gonna send the message that I just called my uncle in Gaza, and it was sent half an hour ago. So I was in Gaza 2012. That was the last time I was in Gaza. I was in Gaza in winter 2012. And I woke up 5 a.m. every single morning. Not because I wanted to. The cold woke me up 5 a.m. every morning. There is no electricity in Gaza. There is no pure water. There is no proper education. I saw in the streets of Gaza, if you want the address, I can give you the address. It's the intersection of Jerusalem and Beirut Avenue. I saw kids 4 years old selling parsley in the streets. And I saw other kids 12 years old working with their uncles and their fathers as mechanics. What kind of education do those people get? I'm really sorry, my English is not perfect. I tried really hard since I came here to perfect my English, to make people understand, but apparently it's not English that's making people not understand. Those kids that you see, on the TV, those are human beings just like you. They had dreams growing up just like each one of you. Or are they just not human, not allowed to dream just because they are Palestinian? I'll give you some numbers that I got half an hour ago. Number of houses completely destroyed, 20,000. Partially destroyed, 30,000 in Beit Hano, Shaja'iyya, and yearly, the amount of days that the Ma'bad, the gate opens is 20 days a year. That's without the war. There are 6,000 Palestinians that need medical treatment and they don't even have access to it. There is no electricity. In the hospitals, there are people who need artificial blood, artificial heart, and artificial parts of the lungs. And there is no electricity. The Bank of Commerce got hit. 82 there are 82 families with more than 3 children of their family got killed. And the last message of you, how many Americans right now have loans? How many of you do have loans? Just a message that everybody understands. How many of you do have loans right now? How many of you take loans for putting your children in schools? The Palestinian spends, and that's what I'm one of those families. The Palestinian spends 30 years of his life, 30 years of his life collecting money just to build a house in Gaza, just to build a house in Gaza, and the next day it's destroyed. How would you feel if you bury your own children? How would America act if this happened in any other country? Do you remember Obama's speech when he was talking about Syria? He was talking about the scenes of the children were sickening, and the pictures of the children in Gaza sickening too. I'm really sorry for my English. I really tried to perfect my English, but I did not. I'm really sorry. After coming here, I really realized that it's not English. It's not make people understand. It's not English.
We understand you. You're good.
Thank you so much. Free Palestine.
Hi everybody, my name is Blvd. I'm from Gaza, Palestine. A few weeks ago, 5 members of my family, including 2 small children, 2 and 6 years old, were killed in their house in my village, Beit Hanun, while baking their bread for the day, wishing to share it together, praying to God to spend one more day with each other while they watching Israel randomly bombing neighbors. Israel give them what they wished for, but sadly dead and buried next to each other. One child, a 5-year-old boy with a special need, injured in the hospital, and he has been left orphaned. The bread they baked in the morning left soaking wet in their blood. And my family kept picking up the hair, the scalp of the 2 girls that was able to find pieces. Today, I called my family like every day in Gaza to make sure I could hear their voice for one more time. And my sister, when I shared with her that I will be among you today, supporting Gaza, and yell loud with one voice, Free Palestine, she asked me to pass and deliver a message to you guys. My sister's message is, the Israeli criminal army is targeting innocent people and kids in Gaza because they had failed to face the Palestinian resistance. And every time the resistance stands in the way of the Israeli criminal army, the immediate response is to bomb kids' playground and food market. My sister is asking the world to help the Palestinians to live in peace and dignity. And she wants to share one question with you. And this is her message again from Gaza. Why the world is not stopping this massacre? How can you sleep at night knowing that you are supporting the killing of other innocent children in Gaza by your silence? Why, when it comes to the Palestinians' lives, you shut your eyes and ear and you keep pretending that you do not see or hear all these Palestinian kids asking for mercy? Why your conscience being numbed to the Palestinian kids' tears and paying your and begging you to save their parents? She told me to yell loud. Shame on the humanity that allow you to justify the Israeli crimes against Palestinians for 66 years. She continued, is that my family, like any other families of Palestine, lived their lives dreaming about freedom and trying to live with hope that tomorrow will bring freedom! She also told me to tell everybody, Israel used Hamas as an excuse to commit massacre on the Palestinians people, especially the kids. Israel has been committing crimes against humanity and Palestinians long before Hamas exists. They are claiming that we are terrorists because we are asking for our basic rights to live as a human being. Gaza been under a blockade for more than 9 years. Nothing allowed to enter Gaza. Printing paper is not allowed. Candy for kids is not allowed. Cinnamon is not allowed. Israelis count the calories that Gazanians consume a day. Gazanians live in a big prison yard, and they wonder why we resist. Resistance is our only way out. We tried peace, they bombed us. Because peace does not favor the Israelis. I say to all our Jewish friends, American friends, join us and speak up and loud against the Israelis' crimes committed against humanity. And last but not least, I would like to say shame on all the Arabs who are not supporting the resistance in Palestine and Lebanon. Shame! Shame in the humanity allow you to watch kids of Gaza killing kids, burying their parents, and don't have even the right to hide safe in their home. They're getting killed while they are sleeping between their mom and dad arms. Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Free Palestine!
My name is Robin Rosecrans, and I'm here standing here supporting the people of Gaza and calling for the end of the occupation and genocide going on Gaza by the Israeli regime. I'm Jewish, and many Jewish people are here, and many Jewish people have woken up to the crimes of Israel. I myself have gone through the checkpoints. I've seen how horrible it is, had guns pointed to my face, and this is not something that people should be going through, especially Palestinians who are the indigenous people of that land. Well, from the beginning, I was telling everyone this. Hamas did not do this. Hamas from the beginning stated publicly that they had nothing to do with this. They went as far as calling Netanyahu stupid, which, I mean, I agree with them. And this whole incident happened in the West Bank. Now, what I was arguing is that Israel should have went and found who are the people responsible, the individuals, but instead they just went straight into Gaza, not the West Bank, Gaza, which had nothing to do with it. You know, an example of this is, let's say someone, a Salvadorian commits a crime here in Los Angeles. The United States does not go straight till El Salvador starts bombing them. And that's exactly what I've been trying to tell people, but the Zionists, of course, have a hard time digesting that. And I wasn't surprised when the Israeli authorities came out and said that Hamas was not responsible, because I know Hamas was telling the truth. I have family who lives in Israel, and I have really close friends who are in Gaza right now. Some of them have actually lost cousins and close family members, and it's really sad. And the pictures that are coming in of their family members and cousins that have been murdered, it's just completely disgusting. I do believe it's ethnic cleansing. If you look at a map of the history of Palestine from 1947 till today, it's like 85-90% of it's gone, and they're still continuing to take land from them. I have Jewish cousins who are Zionist, and they're doing this thing called Aliyah, which is the right to return for the Jewish people. I don't agree with it, and they provide free housing, and I believe they live tax-free, and they get a lot of perks and benefits. And what happens when they give them the houses are actually on newly the houses that were just taken from the Palestinians, and they built these houses, and it's all mostly people like my cousins that are going there to live there, and they have no idea that a family lived there for generations. I graduated from the California State University system, and we've been dealing with cuts, and we're not getting the fundings we need, but yet, hey, when it comes to Israel, give them billions of dollars. Last time I checked, $7 million a day. I believe it went up to $11 million a day of our tax dollars, and it's ridiculous. And I'm actually not surprised, because AIPAC, the largest Zionist lobbyist group, has a lot of influence in the Congress, but from what I've been researching, they're actually starting to lose power, which is a good thing, but hopefully that in the future that all funding to Israel's military will stop. I've been coming here protesting on the side for the past 7 years, and what I've been noticing is that there's more Jewish people here. I've actually met an Israeli here for the first time last week, and people in Israel and Tel Aviv are fed up with this. So it's not just us here, it's people in Israel, and even IDF soldiers are refusing to serve in the IDF because they don't agree with this. And we're all coming together. We're all very diverse people, as you can see here. We're all diverse, and sooner or later, it's something very positive will happen out of it.
One way to actually change the brutal realities that the Palestinian people are facing is to get active in the BDS movement, the Boycott, Divestment, and Sanctions movement. One component of that is the academic and cultural boycott of Israel. The Israeli universities are complicit in the apartheid and ethnic cleansing of the Palestinian people. They develop drones and other weapons. They reward soldiers for the massacres they commit in various ways. And if you are an academic or a cultural worker and you want to support the academic and cultural boycott of Israel, please go to the website usacbi.org. That's U.S. Campaign for the Academic and Cultural Boycott of Israel, USACBI. Also, if you're a teacher, K-12 teacher, or you work for the government, there's a campaign, the Israel Divestment Campaign, idc.org, to divest from the pension plans from Israel. So go to idc.org to help support that. Thank you.
que cuando canto, canto lo que el pueblo siente. Soy del pueblo, pueblo soy, y a donde me lleve el pueblo voy.
My name is Garrick Ruiz. I work with BDS LA for Justice in Palestine. BDS stands for Boycott, Divestment, Sanctions. We're part of the international Boycott, Divestment, Sanctions movement targeting Israeli apartheid. We're out here today at the Port of Long Beach, at the pier where Israeli ships dock when they come into Los Angeles. Ships from the largest Israeli shipping company, Zim Shipping, dock here regularly. And the reason we're out here this morning is as a first step to start talking to workers, both the longshoremen who unload those ships and the port truckers who, after the containers are unloaded, they're put on their trucks to be taken to where they go. And we're out here letting them know about the call by the Palestinian General Federation of Trade Unions to stand in solidarity with Palestinian workers by refusing to handle Israeli goods. This was called by Palestinian workers a few weeks ago in the midst of the horrific massacre happening in Gaza. That massacre has gone on for more than a month now, and so it's brought a lot of attention to the issue. However, we know that even when things return to what's called a more normal state, which in Gaza really normal means basically being inmates in the largest outdoor prison in the world, and it's not the #1 story in the world, that we will have to continue this work. And so we're using this opportunity to make contact with workers to let them know we'll be back, and that just as people in Oakland, Seattle, and Tacoma will be doing in the next week, we intend to stop these ships from unloading in Los Angeles, to not allow them to unload in our town. One of the things that really helped turn the tide in the struggle against apartheid in South Africa was when ILWU workers on the west coast of the U.S. back in the 80s began to refuse to unload South African goods as a protest against apartheid. And we're really following, just as the international BDS movement is modeled after that international solidarity movement with South Africa, we're modeling these actions after what port workers have done in solidarity with South Africa.
You know, this is a civilian population that's under occupied territories or seized. They don't have their basic rights, so they will stand up, and they should stand up. And anywhere in the world where this happens, whether it's South Africa, Japan, Korea, wherever you go in the world, you know, people will stand up, because what's wrong is it's wrong.
The slaughter and the genocide, really, that's happening against the people of Gaza has been just unconscionable. And for those who want to bring charges of war crimes against Israel, that certainly is appropriate.
and then the ship will get unloaded. If we are here in the picket line to talk to our workers, they practice what we do. Reach solidarity with our workers.
The people united will never be defeated. The people united will never be defeated.
Do the right thing. Do what's right. Lock the vote.
Don't you know you're walking away justice? You want to save Palestine from children dying, suffering, getting wounded all day.
How could you do that?
Let's go. Let's go. Come on, guys. Come on. Let's go. We've made our point. They went back, guys. We have made our point and they went back. So let's go support now. Now we need to continue to be united, guys. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go so we can still be united and block them. We already blocked them. Alhamdulillah. Thank God. Allahu Akbar. Yes. God is greater than them.
Today, a large coalition of groups came out to form a community picket line, asking workers to respect that picket line and not go into work today to unload the Israeli company Zim ship that's coming into this berth today. And we just got word that the union invoked their health and safety clause in their contract and has told this shift of workers to go home. The primary goal that we were out here for, we just reached, and everybody I think is very happy now. And now we're going to start planning for next time.
Sanchez in Long Beach, California. Got a minute to the break, Sanchez. What's up?
I wanted to let you and all of the Southern California listeners know about a movement called Block the Boat. And I know Gaza has fallen out of the headlines, but the situation there still continues. The people of Gaza are still suffering. We along the West Coast are called Block the Boat. We're a diverse coalition of peace activists. Saturday morning at 6 a.m. at Pier A in the port of Long Beach, we will be gathering to blockade one of the Israeli-owned cargo ships. It's managed by Zim Integrated Shipping Services. It's the Zim Savannah that's bringing in Israeli cargo. And this is our attempt here in Southern California, along with the rest of the people in Oakland. They're doing a fantastic job doing that. Tacoma and Vancouver, who have all successfully blockaded the Israeli cargo ships that have been coming into port.
So it's sort of what's good for the goose is good for the gander. You want to do a blockade? We'll do a blockade. That's very interesting. Sanchez, I wish you the very best. Thanks for the call.
My name is Vicky Chamouche. I'm with Block the Boat LA. This is Monday, October 20, and we understand that the ship is due in about 1 hour. We're standing out here at this exact location to try to catch all of the employees as they come in for that shift. These are the very dock workers that will unload the Zim Savannah. So we want to try our best to create a disturbance here at this corner, if not be able to blockade it altogether so that the workers cannot then go and unload that ship.
My name is Charmaine, and I am from the Political Scientists for Justice in Palestine. We're here today because in August, over 2,200 Palestinians died, 500 of those children. And I believe that the outrage that we felt during those bombings should not fade in their aftermath. So we are here today in October because we believe in a long-term boycott, divest, and sanction strategy to get Israeli Zim ships off the coast of the U.S., particularly because the Israeli Zim company has been responsible for importing military and paramilitary hardware into the U.S., military hardware that has been sent to police departments in places like Missouri that have been used to target some of the U.S.'s most vulnerable populations. And so in that sense, I think our struggles here are connected to the struggles in Palestine, in that the most vulnerable populations all over the world continue to be targeted by the authorities in charge. And I believe that as citizens of the world, not of any particular place, solidarity is something that should be expressed globally and that we should all care about.
Since 1948, millions of Palestinians have seen their homes, farms, land, families, and lives destroyed by Israeli occupation. At least 6 million are still living in exile. The latest upsurge in violence in Jerusalem started on September 13, 2015, when dozens of Israeli soldiers and police officers attacked Palestinian worshippers with stun grenades and tear gas in the courtyards of the Al-Aqsa Mosque, a Muslim holy shrine on the Temple Mount in occupied East Jerusalem. Many hardline Jewish activists and right-wing politicians ultimately want to build a synagogue on the Temple Mount. Beginning on July 2013, several Israeli settler groups and soldiers stormed the Al-Aqsa Mosque. Palestinian officials said the break-ins are part of an Israeli plan to divide the mosque and to impose a fait accompli in the holy city. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu added to the recent violence when he barred Palestinian men 50 years and younger from the Al-Aqsa Mosque. This has caused the rise in lone wolf stabbings of Israelis. Haaretz, a leading Israeli newspaper, reported that since the beginning of the current clashes, 150 Palestinians have been wounded by live weapons fire. 360 others were injured by rubber-coated bullets fired by Israeli forces, and that there were 18 attacks on Palestinian ambulances, injuring 20 medical personnel and volunteers en route to treat the injured. On October 19, 2015, Israeli officials reported that 7 Israelis were killed since October 1st. When, on October 16th, various Palestinian and pro-Palestinian organizations demonstrated in front of the Los Angeles Israeli consulate, 30 Palestinians had been killed.
The demonstration today was planned by a handful of people, and we built it and they came. And so we're very proud of that, people turning out. And obviously people feel very strongly about it, because I think there's about 200 people here today, which is quite amazing turnout for a Friday afternoon.
I think we as the American people are at a crucial moment in time where it's time for us to demand that our taxpayers' dollars be used in an ethical fashion. Right now, $3.5 billion worth of our taxpayers' dollars goes directly to Israel, and Israel uses that to conduct their military occupation of the West Bank and the bombardment of Gaza. Both are in violation of international law.
We're here because we're sick and tired of the violence. We don't stand for innocent killing of anyone. We think it's wrong in this world. And we don't think it's right for other people to support killing of innocent people. We believe in everyone's right to exist. Until the hatred is removed from the heart, until the time that they stop teaching violence and killing in schools, in hospitals, and in the mosques, this is not going to stop. We're not going to have peace. Peace comes from within, and they're filled with hatred. We want love and peace.
I'm here to tell Mr. Obama, which is, I voted for you, Mr. Obama. Stop aid to Israel. They're killing our children. We need the money here to take care of our the education for our kids, the homeless, the poverty here. Not take care of the Israeli where they're taking people's lands. I lived there. I was there in 1967. I know how it was. My dad built a school over there. But what happened to us? We were taken away and thrown in the street in 1967. I was only 5 years old. Stop involving yourself in the Middle East and anywhere else. Take care of us here. I want peace. Peace for everybody, even for Jewish.
I made these silhouettes. I made them individuals because they were individuals who were shot down, who've lived in under occupation their entire lives. 18 years of repression this kid went through, and that's why I made him. And I made many of them. Unfortunately, I couldn't keep up with them. It was 30 of them.
I'm here. I am Jewish, and I was raised Orthodox. My father came here from Poland in the 1930s. Most of his family was wiped out. I take the question of genocide very seriously, and I think that the Israeli state apparatus, backed by the U.S., is committing genocide against the Palestinian people, culturally, physically, and in many other ways. I think it's a settler colonial system that has to be ended. It's unjust at its core. I think there are a lot of similarities between the way the U.S. government has stolen this land that we're on and committed genocide against indigenous people and what's going on right now in Palestine, and it has to stop. I'm out here to say that I stand in solidarity with the Palestinian people and with the Jewish people who are opposed to Zionism, because they understand that it's a form of reaction and racism, and not in the interest of any Jews really either, certainly not any poor people or colonized people. And I think it's important to stand up and expose that lie that Zionists speak for all Jews, or for, that the U.S. government speaks for the people in this country, for that matter. I think that the U.S. is bombing and, sending drones, and, we're committing the same kind of crimes that the Israelis are. Obama replenished all the armaments of the Israelis after they attacked Gaza last year, and it has to stop.
I'm here because my people have been oppressed, and I understand what oppression is. And there's no way I can sit back as a citizen of this country and watch this country continually support what it is supporting by financially supporting the Jewish war machine that continually wages war on innocent people, unarmed people, and predominantly children.
BDS stands for Boycott, Divestment, and Sanctions. It's an international movement led by Palestinian civil society, a nonviolent movement to try to stop Israeli apartheid. The basic demands are to allow the right of return of all the Palestinian refugees, to respect the human and civil rights of Arab and Palestinian people inside Israel itself, and to end the occupation of Gaza and the West Bank, so that Palestinian people can reassert their nationhood and their identity. And I think it's really crucial that people here support it. I'm part of something called the Hewlett-Packard Boycott Coalition. Hewlett-Packard is involved not only with Israeli apartheid. They designed the passes that the Israelis used to distinguish between Jewish Israelis and Palestinians, but they also have big contracts with the Israeli Navy that is enforcing an embargo on Gaza. Here in this country, Hewlett-Packard has big contracts with the California prison system, with private prisons, to digitize the records on all the prisoners. They have contracts with ICE to speed up deportations and to teach federal agents what they call forensic computing. And I think there's a company that exemplifies the whole kind of military-industrial complex, prison-industrial complex of corporations that are profiting from human misery and human rights violations, and that must stop too.
Most of the $3.1 billion U.S. military aid to Israel will be used to purchase U.S. military hardware, such as fighter jets, missile defense systems, cluster bombs, Apache helicopters, and ammunition. Israel and U.S. officials have been discussing increasing the amount to between $4.2 and $4.5 billion per year. This may be one of the reasons why politicians from Obama to Bernie Sanders are mildly critical of Israel and aren't willing to pull us out of the Middle East. They know they can't control the military-industrial complex that Eisenhower warned us about at the end of his presidency in 1961. Capitalism breeds war, since war is the perfect consumer that makes billions producing arms that will be destroyed in battle so more can be produced. This may be one of the reasons we are in endless wars and have no gun control. It's good for business. The same arms manufacturers that make weapons of war are the same that make and sell American citizens guns, rifles, and ammunition. That is why the NRA, which is funded by the arms manufacturer, has retarded any gun control. I remember being told as a young woman that it was World War II that had pulled us out of the Great Depression. I believed it, but for the wrong reasons, of course. I hadn't been exposed to socialism then, so it sounded right, but now I know why it isn't. War is a great consumer that makes trillions of dollars of profits for the arms industry.
Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! From the river to the sea! From the river to the sea! Palestine will be free! Palestine will be free! From the sea to the river! From the sea to the river! Palestine will live forever! Palestine will live forever! From the sea to the river! From the sea to the river! Palestine will live forever! Palestine will live forever! Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine!
Yo canto porque el presente no es de pena ni es de llanto. Por eso es que cuando canto, canto lo que el pueblo siente. soy del pueblo, pueblo soy, y a donde me lleve el pueblo.
I'm talking to people who are marketing here because we've got a program called No Appetite for Apartheid.
Yeah.
We're asking people not to buy certain Israeli products, including Sabra hummus, which is sold here because the company that makes Sabra hummus, it's made in Israel, and they support the Golani Brigade, which is one of the most brutal brigades in the Israeli so-called defense forces. So we're out here today talking to people about Sabra hummus and these other agricultural products and asking them not to buy them. I am with DSA Long Beach, People for Palestinian Israeli Justice, and Long Beach Area Peace Network. I became interested in this many, many years ago when I was a student at Cal State Long Beach, and one of my teachers went with me on a student tour of Palestine, and I was in Jerusalem, and it was during what they called the First Intifada, where Palestinians were boycotting everything Israeli, and they had set up their own secret schools and their own co-op shops and all this kind of stuff. So that's when I became interested. And I've been involved on and off ever since then. That was 1990.
Israel, you can't hide. We charge you with genocide.
Hi, I am with the Palestinian Youth Movement. Today we are here outside of the Zionist consulate in Los Angeles following the Zionist occupation forces invasion of Al-Aqsa Mosque and attack on Palestinian worshippers during the holy month of Ramadan, as well as the detaining of over 400 Palestinians, many who are youth, who have confronted occupation forces in defense of Al-Aqsa and in defense of Jerusalem. Today we are here to protest for our people in Jerusalem and to demand that the detainees be released.
People, free the land. Justice is our demand.
Sabra hummus and other Israeli products to stop the U.S. giving Israel $3.8 billion of our money. Israel uses taxpayer money to bulldoze Palestinian homes. We can use that money to build homes for our unhoused. Boycott Sabra hummus and call your congressional representative and senators to stop funding Palestinian suffering.
Israel, you can't hide. Israel, you can't hide. We charge you with genocide.
El picket sign, lo llevo por todo el día. El picket sign, conmigo toda la vida. El picket sign, lo llevo por todo el día. El picket sign, conmigo toda la vida.
Israel, you can't hide. Israel, you can't hide. We charge you with genocide. We charge you with genocide. Israel, you can't hide. Israel, you can't hide. We charge you with genocide. We charge you with genocide. Biden, you can't hide. Biden, you can't hide. We charge you with genocide.
We're on our way to the LA rally for Palestinian liberation. As you know, we know the Palestinian people have been under occupation by the brutal Israeli state for over 75 years. And in the past couple of weeks, they have bombed over 4,000 Palestinians, 1,000 of those being children. We here in Long Beach understand that we need to have international solidarity with our brothers and sisters from Palestine. So we're showing up to the rally to show support for them.
Israel, you can't hide. Israel, you can't hide. We charge you with genocide.
I'm here to support the Palestinian people in their struggle of getting their land back. It's a genocide. What's happening in Palestine? They're bombing people on a daily basis without regard for human life, and it's a genocide. They tell them to evacuate, and then they take their land. If they don't evacuate, they'll bomb them anyways. So might as well stay in your houses that you've been in for a long time. But they have no regard for human life. They're bombing them anyways. There's a lot of stuff that the Israelis are saying. Part of it, they're saying, okay, we we're doing this to exterminate Hamas. The same thing is happening in West Bank. There's no Hamas there, and they're still bombing there, and they're still killing people there. So I don't know what the excuse is in the West Bank when there's no Hamas at all. So how is your excuse there? You know, what's your excuse for killing people at the West Bank where there is no Hamas?
They needed, first of all and foremost, to create a Jewish majority by force, by driving away the indigenous people from their land. And this is how the state was founded. And immediately afterwards, they created a whole legal system that will make sure that those who have been expelled will never be allowed back, and those who remained on their land, because not everyone was expelled, will never be equal citizens.
יש לך משהו להגיד, אומרת ש...
על מה?
גם ככה רבים, מקסימום.
אוקיי, בסדר בעברית? פשוט מאוד, צריך להיכנס לשטחים, וכל מחבל שעושה פיגוע צריך להרוג אותו, צריך להרוג את המחבלים, ואז הם יפחדו ולא יעשו לנו בעיות, והכל יהיה בסדר. הם יהיו בכפרים שלהם, אנחנו נחיה פה, לא צריך להיות ביחד, והכל בסדר.
You can't hide! You can't hide! We charge you with genocide!
I'm not from Palestine, actually. I'm half Lebanese, half Syrian, but we have relatives in Palestine. My son-in-law is from Palestine. We have friends from Palestine. And other than being or not being from Palestine, this is a social justice, humanistic cause. So it doesn't matter whether you are from Palestine or not. If you care about the human beings, if you care about real social justice, not selective social justice, then of course you're going to support the Palestinian cause and oppose the Palestinian genocide, extermination, and annihilation of lands, confiscation of culture. They're trying to erase a whole culture. So it's not just being from Palestine.
The need to segregate, the need to separate and not to interact with Palestinians is part of Israeli identity. So we have to understand that Israeli identity depends on denying Palestinian identity and denying either the existence of Palestinians altogether or at the very least denying their identity, their culture and so on. And also, right after the ethnic cleansing of Palestine, right after the Palestinians were expelled from their homes and became refugees, the very next thing that happened was that there was a concerted effort of mass looting of books and other cultural artifacts from Palestinian homes, which was led by the National Library in Israel. So it's for a reason that when we say existence is resistance for Palestinians, this is true. Just by very existing on their land, this is an act of resistance in itself. Even more so when they actually claim their rights, claim their identity, do cultural work, like produce Palestinian culture, that is an act of war.
Biden, you can't hide! Biden, you can't hide! We charge you with genocide!
I'm here to lend my voice to the Free Palestine movement because Palestinians are being slaughtered and there's genocide going right now, so I'm here to lend my voice to that.
So how did you decide to make this these face masks?
I was just trying to figure out a way to, visually show my support. Unfortunately, the area I live around doesn't have flags, so I was like, well, it's about Halloween time, so there's going to be face paint everywhere, so I figured this is probably the most obvious way to basically show my support.
Biden, you can't hide! Biden, you can't hide! We charge you with genocide!
It all begins with chinuch, how you say it?
Education.
Whatever they teach the kids does, it's families.
I'm seeing that we need to...
I don't think there's any answer to it.
Really?
There's only one way, I would carpet bomb them.
You would carpet bomb them?
It's the only way you could deal with it. Or try to stop them a different way. It never worked.
You mean all Arabs or Gaza or?
I believe that they, I hope to believe they're not, but I do think they are, because I don't trust them. You can't trust them. And that's the only way I believe that. The only way is just to stop it completely.
My sign, it's actually self-explanatory. We do it to show the world Israel exactly is doing what other people did to it. And they don't like what they have done to them, then they're doing it to others. Unfortunately, they are occupiers, they are oppressors. They need to make, as this state, they want to do their own state on someone else's land, which is a Palestinian land. The solution is, I think Palestinians should have their own state, and the Israelis should live with them as like the Jewish. They lived with us for a long time, and we should go back to where we started from.
Our families live in Gaza City. As of now, we're walking the streets and they've been killed, bombed. They left their homes. They're deprived from water, electricity, internet. The situation is so bad, and it's definitely comparable to what Jews went.
On Saturday, October 14th, 2023, according to the Los Angeles Times, thousands protested at the Israeli consulate. They condemned the bombing of Palestinian civilians and the cutting off of their water and power in Gaza. Scott of the Democratic Socialists of America, Long Beach, California, explains why he's there.
I'm here with Democratic Socialists of America, Long Beach chapter, and we're here to stand in full and unapologetic support with the people of Palestine, and to say no to Israeli apartheid and the occupation, and for the United States to stop sending money and arms for Israel to commit genocide against Palestinians.
During the 1948 Nakba, Israel ethnically cleansed 85% of the Palestinian population. More than 400 Palestinian villages were destroyed. Israel's illegal settlements since then have slowly ethnically cleansed thousands of Palestinians off their land. With the help of an Israeli defense force, Israel bulldozed Palestinian homes, farms, orchards, olive groves, and killing their livestock to illegally build Jewish settlements. Settlements that stole Palestinian streams, aquifers, and water for irrigation and human consumption. 96% of the water Palestinians have is contaminated and unfit for human consumption. Now, under the recent siege to ethnically cleanse Palestinians, it cut off any water to Gaza. According to Amnesty International, just between the years of 1967 to 2017, 600,000 plus Israeli settlers occupied Palestinian lands. 100,000 plus hectares of land Israel stole from the Palestinians. 50,000 homes and structures Israel demolished. 4.9 million Palestinians face daily restrictions on their movement and still do. Pushed more and more off their land, Palestinians live in a cage, the Gaza Strip, surrounded by a wall that was built and stolen from their own land. Israel now wants to continue the ethnic cleansing of northern Gaza, killing or expelling about half of the Palestinian population.
What you're doing here, building homes here, it's colonialism, isn't it?
It's our forefathers' country. This is our country, and anywhere you'll dig and you'll find Jewish homes. That's what you'll find here.
If you look back at the history, the areas, these places are like really rightfully ours. Like if it was any other country that would have conquered these places or taken over these places, nobody would make a big deal. It's just because it's Israel and anti-Semitism and everything.
They kicked us about 2,000 years ago, and we came back. We have Jerusalem. We built every stone here. Every stone, 3,000 years ago. Over here,
This all is 3,000 years.
this is the city of David, 2,500 years ago. All history of the Jewish people, and the Islam doesn't have history at all in this country.
I think that they should actually look at a history book and look at the progression of history and who occupied Israel, go further back. So if it could be that the Palestinians occupied Israel, that's true, but who occupied that before that? And if you keep going back to the times of like the Bible, you'll see that it was indeed the Jews that did occupy.
But it's really rightfully ours if you look at the history and at like the wars, and we didn't even start a lot of the wars, and we conquered these places rightfully, like it's ours.
We brought the settlements in by Gaza, you know, all the Gush Katif strip.
Gave Gaza back.
Well, we gave part of Israel. It's not that it's not Gaza. We do things for peace.
On Saturday, October 14th, 2023, Jacqueline Al-Mustafa demonstrated with thousands of others at the Israeli consulate.
Hi, my name is Jacqueline Al-Mustafa. I am with DSA Long Beach chapter. We are here protesting against Israeli apartheid of the Palestinian people. Long live Palestine.
It didn't just begin on October 7th, although that's the day that Hamas breached this wall that Israel had built surrounding Gaza. And I think we need to just reflect on this for a while. Gaza is an open-air concentration camp. Now, some Israelis might take umbrage at that. I don't care. It's time to just call things as they are. It's an open-air concentration camp where 2-point-something million Palestinians who are being denied any possibility of a normal life by the Israeli occupier or oppressor. They have been locked in there by the Israeli government. They're denied the ability to have an airport. They're denied the ability to have a port. Entrance and exiting there is tightly controlled by foreigners. The Palestinians don't have a right to dictate the terms of their own life. And life inside Gaza is extraordinarily unpleasant. It's poverty-stricken. There's no real hope for bettering one's existence. And so this has been going on for some time now. I mean, Gaza became an open-air prison almost immediately after Israel became a nation in 1948. If you study the events of that time, the Israelis had a policy of depopulating the Palestinian lands, the territories that were populated by Palestinian people, either killing them, and they killed thousands of them, or driving them out. And 700,000+ were ethnically cleansed in this manner, many of which were sent to Gaza, right. The first installation as an open-air prison. And since that time, there's been ebbing and flowing in terms of Israel and Gaza, et cetera. But recently, it has become a sticky point because Hamas, this organization, it labels itself a resistance organization. Israel, the United States, Europe, and others labeled it a terrorist organization. We just need to reflect that Samuel Adams and the Sons of Liberty were called terrorists by the British back before in the time of the American Revolution. Menachem Begin was a member of the Irgun organization that blew up the King David Hotel and killing hundreds of British, not just soldiers, but women, children. It was a terrorist organization, but the Israelis labeled them as freedom fighters. So it depends on your perspective. I would imagine that for the vast majority of the people living inside Gaza and many of the Arabs around the world, they don't view Hamas as a terrorist organization.
According to the U.S. Undersecretary of Defense Critical Infrastructure Program, by June 2023, the Israeli military killed 27 Palestinian children. 700 Palestinian children each year, up to 94%, are held in pretrial detention without bail. Many tortured and others killed. The trauma of young boys can lead from throwing stones in self-defense to men picking up arms and joining Hamas in the misguided belief that they can control Israeli violence. But violence only creates more violence. And now Israel seeks to ethnically cleanse Palestinians. Today, November the 3rd, 2023, Israel had bombed and murdered 9,061 Palestinians, mostly women and minors. 32,000 people have been wounded. And this doesn't include the people buried in the rubble of collapsed houses. This is unprecedented in decades of Israeli-Palestinian violence, except if Israel is committing ethnic cleansing.
Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Long live Palestine! Long live Palestine! Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Long live Palestine! Long live Palestine! Israel, you can't hide! Israel, you can't hide! We charge you with genocide! We charge you with genocide! Israel, you can't hide! Israel, you can't hide! We charge you with genocide! We charge you with genocide! Biden, you can't hide! Biden.
Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now!
It's hard to be calm sometimes, but actually with age comes a lot of calmness, so there it is. I also come from a very different kind of Jewish background from Ted. I'm going to quote Einstein when I speak tonight. My Jewish values take me here, to this place at this time. I want to say that it is not anti-Semitic, and I'm not a self-hating Jew, and I'm not any of that stuff. In fact, I'm proud to be Jewish. I wish, anyway, I am. I'm also proud that, I'm going to say this, my grandchildren live in different places, and each of them in their own city joined a march last weekend. So I think I did my job. Thank you all.
So I'm here to speak on the same subject that I want you to consider, the recommendation of the Equity and Human Relations Commission regarding the ongoing war in Gaza. I'm going to go a step further. I'm going to say that it is possible to call an emergency council meeting to act on that and not wait till December 5th. I also want to say that as a Jew, I find the conflation of anti-Semitism and opposition to Israeli policies despicable. I have lived in Iowa and in the South, and I have experienced anti-Semitism. I have also seen the swastikas around our own country now and the physical attacks on Palestinians. Both are deplorable. There is not disagreements. I actually once, way back, taught civics. Disagreements and even arguments about policy do not constitute slurs against a people. My opposition to Israel is rooted in the Jewish values I was raised on. As Albert Einstein said, and this is a direct quote, I have it on a poster, next to actually a letter from Einstein to my father, but that's a different story. Einstein's quote is, "An almost fanatical love of justice is a feature of the Jewish tradition that makes me thank my stars for belonging to it." Every day we wait to act to urge our congressional delegation to sign on to the Ceasefire Now resolution, which is H.R. 786, more children die. I urge you to condemn real anti-Semitism and anti-Palestinianism. Mayor Richardson, call a special meeting and support the ceasefire resolution. Not one more life.
Ecocide, an environmental Nakba. In the first months of the Gaza war, Israel struck mostly 12,000 civilian targets, dropping 25,000 metric tons of bombs, equal to 2 nuclear bombs, creating catastrophic pollution of sulfate, hydrogen cyanide, and ammonia. With the invasion, Israel's military vehicles produced hundreds of thousands of tons of carbon monoxide, nitrogen oxide, hydrocarbons, and sulfur dioxide, in addition to CO2s. Their small firearms emitted tons of lead. The U.S.-made F-35 fighter jets used by Israeli Air Force to drop these bombs consumed about 2.3 gallons of fuel for every mile and around 1,340 gallons of fuel per hour. One F-35 tank of gas produces the equivalent of 28 metric tons of carbon dioxide. According to the Swiss Federal Office of Civilian Aviation, helicopters burn roughly 42 gallons of jet fuel per hour, emitting half a ton of CO2s. Human Rights Watch documented Israel violating international humanitarian law by dropping white phosphorus in Gaza. It burned human flesh down to the bone and impacted the ecosystem by setting fields on fire, polluting rivers and aquifers, and poisoning local crops, cattle, and fisheries. 97% of Gaza's water is unsuitable for human consumption, with airstrikes ongoing. More than 130,000 cubic meters of untreated sewage a day are being released into the Mediterranean Sea from Gaza, according to the Norwegian Refugee Council. Before the war, Haaretz, an Israeli newspaper, found that the Jewish National Fund uprooted hundreds of thousands of olive trees essential to the local ecosystem that combats climate change. According to the Israeli Meteorological Service, the bombing of Gaza compounds a much longer-term problem. The Eastern Mediterranean is one of the most vulnerable areas to climate change, with average temperatures increasing by 1.5 degrees Celsius between 1950 and 2017. Climate change does not recognize borders. The environmental degradation in Palestine will impact Israel. Because of the climate change, as salt water pushes into coastal aquifers, it will affect both Israel and Palestine. The war jeopardizes Israel's water security. Ashkelon, one of Israel's desalination plants, shut down several times due to pollution from Gaza.
The water security of Israel is very much connected to the water and sanitation situation in Gaza. So we can say to the public that we are disengaging from Gaza, but the environment doesn't allow us to actually do that.
Without an immediate long-term ceasefire, Israel will only increase cross-border environmental disasters. A ceasefire will stop ecocide and environmental nakba.
We publicized the fact that Nahala movement is organizing groups of families to settle the entire area of Gaza. And people registered, hundreds of families. The Arabs of Gaza will not stay in Gaza, period.
Even if Israel can ethnically cleanse all of Palestinians from Gaza, it will take over a toxic, poisonous, dead land.
Yeah. What is it good for? Absolutely nothing.
I'm exhausted. Last night I couldn't sleep, but when I did, I could hear bombs in my dreams. Nightmare situation. How could they be so evil, making martyrs out of children and innocent people? We expect the bombs, not knowing where next. Huddle in the corner of my room, trying to protect my little brother as the building shakes like it's possessed. But nothing stronger than the will of the oppressed. I bomb back with my lyrics and rhymes, living the times trying to break the Palestinian minds. What's hiding in the clouds hanging over my head? My dad risks his life outside to buy bread. The fourth war in my 12th year. At this stage I'm numb, though I haven't feel scared. There's nothing I can do in this case to stay safe. I'm brave, even though this house could be in my grave. I want freedom for the population. 2 million prisoners living in this location, shouting at the wall, but nothing is ever changing. That's life under an occupation. I want freedom for the population. 2 million prisoners living in this location, shouting at the wall, but nothing is ever changing. That's life under an occupation. Mothers mourn, frightened with grief. White sheets covered by his dad lie on the streets. Buildings turn to ash, but my mind is made of steel. So it doesn't take much for me to heal. Won't lose the will to live or lose our minds. My auntie lost her home, so she lost her life, but she is still alive, but traumatized by the bombs that flew in and dropped that night. My sister couldn't sleep, tried to stop her cries. I said it was fireworks, I was telling her lies. Where's the compassion? This is heartless. It's like they want us all living in darkness, cutting off water and electricity for hours. They're knocking towers, but that's not knocking the power that I have in my pen. When I'm writing, I'm unstoppable. The microphone is the only escape possible, cause that's the way that I can speak my mind. I wonder how does the fighter pilot sleep at night, knowing he can turn the city upside down all of a sudden, slaughtering families with the push of a button. I want freedom for the population, 2 million prisoners living in this location, shouting at the wall, but nothing is ever changing. That's life under an occupation. I want freedom for the population, 2 million prisoners living in this location, shouting at the wall, but nothing is ever changing. That's life under an occupation.